everybody. Welcome to episode 79 of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's with me tonight?
Private Michael K. Hughes, reporting for duty.
Oh, and I'm DJ Poop Hands. That's my street name. But most people just call me by my actual name, which is Justin Hamm, and I'm from the Nerds Without Pants podcast.
No pants.
Sure.
The way I met Julian was from Comic Conspiracy, and one of the guys at Comic Conspiracy used to always say "no pants" whenever they would plug his show. So I continue the joke.
Okay, gotcha. Now I understand that.
It makes more sense now. So that's where the joke is from. Toby from Comic Conspiracy would say that.
Understood.
Great show.
We
I
do
need
okay.
to get in contact with those guys. I have not done it yet. I want to. I listen to the show every single week for years.
It happens. I don't know enough about comics to listen to something like that, so
I do and I don't, but they've educated me.
That's good.
It's
Sometimes it's
how
good to learn things from podcasts.
That's how I knew Julian existed, and there was a mutual friend or someone a part of a Facebook group was like friends of Julian. I'm like, wait, you know Julian Titus, and that's how I ended up getting connection with him. And that's how I got on the show and all that. So
understood. Now I get it. Cool.
There's the background that nobody asked for.
No, that's fine. I was interested. I was interested the whole time.
So I think, and you already said where you're from. I think I should introduce what we're going to be talking about tonight. A game that none of us are passionate about, I don't think. But we're going to be talking about Halo Combat Evolved.
Oh, is that what we're talking? Shit. All my notes are about barbecuing and making the perfect barbecue sauce for your next outdoor barbecue. I'm going to have to scrap this entire fucking thing, guys. I'm sorry.
You probably could make barbecue with a lot of the Covenant enemies. They all look like they might be tasty.
You
have grunt burgers, elite ribs. You could.
You should know that the little guys breathe farts. That's a real thing. They breathe methane,
don't they?
Yeah, that's a real thing.
Well, cows make a lot of methane, so maybe it would taste good as a burger.
You know what? They make a lot of methane, but they don't breathe it.
Yes, I know. They make a lot of methane, but they also are part of the reason of global warming because there's so many cows on the earth.
Okay, I believe it.
I saw it in a documentary somewhere. I was like, okay. That's not what I expected.
So what you're saying is we should kill all the cows.
It would help global warming, but then what will we eat?
Chicken. It'll be fine.
Isn't chicken healthier for you?
Probably. I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm not a health person.
They assume everything's bad for you anymore.
Yeah, why not?
It's like eggs. Eggs go back and forth between whether they're good or bad for you, so just assume the worst.
100% hey, Rocky taught me anything. They're good if you're getting ready to fight a Russian.
Yeah, they will sure make you run up steps good. That's how that works. That's for sure.
I think he ate raw eggs in one of those movies.
I'm pretty sure that was Rocky. I keep thinking that's Rocky 1 during the montage, and then he runs up the steps shortly afterwards. I could be really wrong. I watched those, but it's been years.
Same.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Indeed.
All right, so we should talk about what we're actually here for, not barbecuing, but so we're going to be talking about Halo Combat Evolved, which came out in 2001, but none of us played the original Xbox version because why would you at this point?
Well, I played it in 2001. I played the shit out of it in 2001, so
same. I remember I thought the Xbox was stupid when it first came out, the original one.
I did too. I wholeheartedly thought it was a waste of a console. I did not understand why Microsoft would even try, and I remember looking at it and going, that thing is huge, it looks ugly, why the fuck would anybody... This is the Mountain Dew of gaming consoles, I do not understand this thing. And then all my friends were like, but it's gonna be awesome! And I was like, I don't know, guys, PlayStation 2 is pretty fucking fine. I do not see this thing being at all any better. And then they were like, but you gotta play Halo. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll play Halo. And then you play multiplayer, and I was like, all right, I get it. I think I get it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I played it back in the day, not when it first came out, but it would have been later. But I didn't like multiplayer much. But I do remember, vaguely remember playing through the game, and I remember reading the books because there were 3 books that came out around the time of the game.
Right. I did not read any of the books. I have no I know very little about Halo lore. There's stuff I do know about Halo lore that I'm sure I will get into later, and it's very stupid. It was basically fucking I don't remember. It's something to explain level design, and I was like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Okay, that I don't know.
Yeah, I'll get into it later.
I know a decent amount about the story because I've because like I was saying before, the 3 books. One book is the Reach, what we ended up becoming Halo Reach, which we covered on the show, and then we also then you had a book that was called The Flood, which was just about the game, like the book adaptation of the game. And then you had another book called First Strike, which took place after the first game.
Right. Oh man, I'm sorry. My fucking dogs are going off in the background. God, I was like, it's not so much the construction, it's the goddamn dogs. Oh,
it's fine. Everyone loves dogs.
It's usually my cat, so this is a nice change of pace.
Oh yeah, it's these little fucking assholes just cannot stand anything. I'm gonna tell you right now. But that's what that noise is. If you hear it in the recording,
you will.
Damn it. Oh yeah. But anyway, where were we? I don't remember.
So Halo. So I mean, Halo starts off very odd too in a way because one, since at this point, you know, it was the first game, so you didn't know the previous thing, but you wake up in a chamber and they fit in a little tutorial like, oh, we got to make sure everything's working okay in your suit. So look up, look down, look left, look right, hit this button. Like it, I like when games do that. I like when they don't say hit R1 to pull out your gun. Hit select your codec. Like I like it when the game finds a reason to say, "Oh, do this," and then the button prompts. Like I like that better. Like the immersion.
Yeah,
it even prompts you to like swap to invert the axis too if you're one of those sadists.
Yeah, there are people that like to do that, and those people are wrong.
I did it by accident, and I had to struggle to fix it. I'm like, no, I can't play it like
this. No, yeah, you got to go into the settings and turn it back. It's a whole thing.
Master Chief, are you all right? You look like you have a concussion of some sort.
Oh my god. Yeah, I've always loved the tutorial for Halo, and I know most people make fun of it these days about looking up at the lights and stuff, but at the time that was really cool because like to my like recollection, it's like one of those like first times where like the dual stick was like, oh, it actually works, this is cool. Like it moves the camera like it's supposed to, this feels natural and good. So I really like that tutorial, and like you said, it makes sense because you're like, yeah, we got to test the suit. You've been like frozen, or I don't know what the hell happened, Master Chief. I was hoping there's somebody who knew lore on this.
There was, but he is not here at the time.
I see.
I had already announced it, so I had to go on the show.
Hey, it happens.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be here because I can tell you why. Because in the game that comes out before this, well, in timeline wise, which created years later and is way better, Halo Reach, and in Halo Reach, he's one of the few Spartans that are left, and he's put in cryo freeze because they're going to go on this flight, and that's part of it. He's in cryo freeze the entire time. I don't remember why he's actually in cryo freeze, but he was in cryo freeze. He's loaded onto the ship when Reach is going down to get him out of Reach before the whole place just gets destroyed.
Okay, all right.
Well, you can see him in the very end. There's a cameo of him being loaded onto Autumn as your Noble 6, and you give whatever give Cortana to them.
Okay, I didn't play Reach, so I played it for like two minutes or whatever. I think I played the first level with a friend of mine and was like, yeah, this sure is Halo.
Reach is better.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. But
Reach is my favorite of the series.
That's good. Yeah, I had like at that point, like after 3, I'd kind of had my fill of this series. Like I will not lie. But that's because I played way too much of it. I played way too much of the first 3 games. I'm not gonna lie.
I played a lot of 2. 1, I never played multiplayer with 1 really because you would have had to be in person, and I didn't. I only remember doing it a few times. I'm not a big multiplayer person. We can talk. And I know that one, like you were saying before, like one of the reasons why people love Halo because you could shoot your friends. And I'm like, I don't want to shoot my friends. I want to shoot with my friends. I mean, yes, this game did have co-op originally.
I was gonna say you can tell like parts of this campaign were built around having a co-op partner.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Every Warthog part and all that stuff. Like it's terrible when you're playing it solo. It really does. Oh boy, it's bad. But.
It is like you can feel it. I mean, I know if you do play a co-op, it's kind of funny because they don't have the other characters, just another Master Chief. Like they didn't figure out like, oh, there's a side character that shows up. Nope, it's just another Master Chief is with you.
Yeah, they didn't do that until 2, with the Arbiter or whatever. Spoilers for Halo 2. There's another guy.
Spoilers for a game that came out in 2000.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll keep doing that. Let's see. No, Halo. Yeah, it was more of a multiplayer game. No, you didn't really play this game for the campaign. And like, so I was a sophomore in high school when this came out. This was 2001. And I played a lot of multiplayer, and the internet gaming wasn't a thing quite yet. They hadn't worked that out. That was the Halo 2
Halo 2 is the
revelation.
first console game to have online in a
Yeah.
big way.
Yeah, that was the one where it really took off, and we played a lot of internet Halo at that time too. But Halo 1 was more LAN party, and I knew people that just everybody brought their own Xbox. People were setting up in every bedroom of the house and just running cords all over the house, and then we just partied and played Halo. That was what we did. That was every weekend. I know I probably could still drop into like what is it, Hang 'em High. God, always Hang 'em High every time, and just still know the map like the back of my hand because it just played it nonstop. And it was a really good time. There are parts of that multiplayer where I was playing through the campaign and I was like, oh yeah, I still have it. I still know exactly what to do here. I can still land these stickies on people like nobody's business. Like I can aim a grenade like for whatever reason, that's something I was really good at, is aiming goddamn grenades. I don't know how, but I am.
I didn't use the grenades a lot in this game because I couldn't remember what the key was and I was too stubborn to go look it up.
Yeah, if you're not
It took a
playing,
sec.
if you're playing on if you're
Keyboard?
playing, the regular, no, if you're playing the newer version on like an Xbox One or whatever, the controls took me some adjusting because I remember that like they didn't have bumpers on the original Xbox. It was just the two triggers.
Oh.
So I think it was like switch grenades. I believe melee was click the stick in, and
That's
that was
stupid.
melee.
Wait, no, that's normal, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. No, now it's on like one of the bumpers. It's on in the anniversary edition that I played. It was on one of the bumpers. You hit that, and that was melee, and then the left trigger was grenade every time. And like, if you use grenades pretty liberally, like you do pretty good. You're constantly picking them up, and they have a really neat effect that is a detail that I never noticed back in the day. And maybe it's just for the anniversary edition, but I think this was in Classic too. If you throw a grenade and hit just grenades on the floor, they all blow up, like which is pretty cool.
So many times from that, just not realizing they're there.
Yep, it's very easy to do.
I was wondering why things would just blow up in terrible ways sometime and just murder me. Okay.
Yep, that's what it was. If something,
the flood when the popcorn blow up and they blow up near a grenade. Oh gosh.
Oh man. Yeah, that's the flood. Oh god.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah, I have a lot of fond memories of playing Halo multiplayer, and like I believe, now don't quote me on this, I could be very wrong if I went back in time and looked, but I'm pretty sure my friend and I both played this co-op, and we beat this game on Legendary before the game, or not before the game, but before Halo 2 came out. We made it a point. We were going to beat Halo 1 on Legendary, and we did. So, because apparently I hated myself at that time. In co-op, it's not as bad because like you can respawn each other.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're like, okay, get out of combat, I'm dead. And you can also do the trick of, hey, I'm low on health, please kill me. And then you respawn with full health or whatever. So there's little weird co-op tricks you could do.
And Halo 2 was 2004, so you would have had time to do it.
Yes, exactly. I think that was toward the end, and then Halo 2 came out, and we beat Halo 2 on Legendary before the game even came out. That's a true story. If you're wondering how that happens, Halo 2 leaked on the internet about 2 weeks before it actually came out, and somehow we had means, I don't remember exactly how, but we had connections that were like, hey, Halo 2, you can we're going to download it on the Xbox and play it. I was like, I don't know how you're doing this sorcery, but sure, let's do it. So it was a weird version of the game. Like it wasn't fully finished. You could tell there were like certain rough spots in it, but like it was still the full game. Like you had everything, you had multiplayer, you could do all that stuff. But like when the aliens would talk, like the grunts would have their little dialogue or whatever, all their stuff was in French with like American subtitles. So you would throw a grenade at them and they'd be like, Sacre bleu, and just run away. Like, I'm not kidding. That was the real line. It was honestly, I'd love to play that
PAL version.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I'm looking it up right now while you're talking.
Ah, yes. It was amazing. I would play that version of that game again just for that. It was great.
That sounds hilarious. I never knew that, but I remember when Halo 2 came out, but I because then I was actually concerned. Like when Halo 1 came out, I didn't know I didn't care about this franchise. I didn't play it until a buddy of mine had convinced me to play it because he played it at friends' houses because he had an Xbox.
That's usually how that played it. Yep, that's usually how that works. You have the one friend that is like, "No, you gotta play Halo. You gotta see this. It's so crazy." And you're like, "All right." I remember even like playing through the campaign, having judgments that we'll get to, but you know, it's still a good game, man. Like it's honestly, Halo is kind of the Half-Life of consoles. Like that may seem weird, but Half-Life did for PC shooters what Halo did for console shooters. There's a reason why. I mean, there's a reason why like there was a million Halo clones and people were like marketing their games as the Halo killer. They weren't, but they tried.
One thing that Halo started for first-person shooters that needs to be mentioned is this is one of the first shooters I can remember where you can only carry 2 guns. Like that became a thing in Halo, which I'd rather have the GoldenEye where I have 20 guns in my pockets and I don't care how they got there.
I agree. It worked for this game. I don't know why. And that's because you were constantly getting new guns all the time. Like you would just toss them everywhere. Like
there's only 6 guns in this game probably.
Yeah, let's see. There's
let me rephrase that. There's only 4 useful gun in my opinion.
All right, the assault rifle, the shotgun, and the pistol.
Pistol is overpowered. Yeah.
Yes. Assault rifle, the sniper rifle, and the shotgun. Everything else garbage.
Oh man, the assault rifle. You are very wrong. The assault rifle is widely considered one of the worst guns in the entire game.
Not on easy.
You played it on easy. Okay,
I played it on baby
difficulty.
A lot of sense. No problem at all. I could gun things down. Even from distance, I could gun things down with the assault rifle.
Yeah. See, it's not a good gun. It's an ammo hog. Like you have to dump almost an entire clip, especially against anything shielded. Like that's the problem with all the human weapons. The shotgun, probably one of the best feeling shotguns in video games. That's
way overpowered.
It's so good. It's very, very good.
They fixed it, I think, in 2. I think in 2 they nerf it, but in this game it is fucking like just ridiculously good.
Yeah, that's another point about the assault rifle is the assault rifle was so bad that they got rid of it in 2 and replaced it with the battle rifle.
Yep.
And the assault rifle became the SMG, so you could dual wield it. Because
2, I love the battle rifle. I hated in Halo 2 Online, but it's a good gun.
Yeah, I was like really digging around and like going out of like certain comfort zones for this playthrough just to try things. Like, and I found like a lot. I used to avoid a lot of the alien weapons. I think the Needler's a piece of shit. I hate that. Yeah, that gun's not good.
It doesn't kill him. You hit him with it, and it takes a couple seconds before it explodes. So you'll fill a guy with needles, and then you have to wait. Like it doesn't work.
Yeah. Also, if you run into anybody with like one of those like power shields in front of them, like riot shield guys, I don't remember what they're called. Jackal. Okay, there you go. Those assholes. They will block it and they'll all bounce off, and then you're just sitting there like an asshole. It sucks. But yeah, the assault rifle not the best. The assault rifle is good against the flood though. It's amazing against the flood because you can just spray and kill all the little dumbass guys. But in multiplayer and shotgun was great too. But in multiplayer, like, yeah, the assault rifle was basically a piece of crap. The pistol is like one of the best pistols. They had to nerf it. That's how good it was. In the next game, they were just like, yeah, we made that pistol a little too powerful.
Well, it's supposed to have like explosive rounds too, if I remember the lore for it. Like,
I don't doubt it.
That's why it's so damn good in this game. Is that it is like you were saying, it is like the best weapon in this game. Like I didn't use it all the time, but then when I remembered how good it was, like okay, we're just going just with this, and yeah, I don't need nothing else.
Yeah, the pistol is when you have one. I would say the only time I would ever get rid of the pistol for me was in the flood levels. Like I was kind of like, okay, I don't really need them here because I would just roll exclusively shotgun, assault rifle, and basically it was like shotgun to kill all the big guys, assault rifle to clean up the mess, and that worked pretty well.
Yeah, it's not good for crowd control, the pistol.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Man, I learned a trick this playthrough, and it was from watching somebody else play it, and that's like you can kill those big hunter guys in one shot. And I was like, oh man, we used to just dump ammo onto these guys, and that's how I used to kill them, and I feel real dumb now.
I think if you hit them in the back of the orange spot with a pistol, they go down in one hit.
They go down. Cool. If you shoot them in the kidney with a pistol, with almost any human weapon, they will go down almost instantly. It's great. I did not know that when I played this game back in the day. I was like, oh, that's all I had to do. Wow, I feel really dumb.
They weren't that bad in this game. Like that's nothing interesting about the game. There are no boss fights whatsoever. Like the only boss fight is that you fight hunters every so often they drop 2 hunters on you.
Yeah. I would say a boss encounter type encounter is at the very end of the game, and I hate that with a fiery passion. That part is awful. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you do. Where you must throw grenades into vents.
Oh God, the end of the game.
Yeah, that's one of the worst things I think I've seen in a long time. I was like, there's a reason we didn't play this one again. I remember that.
I mean, I played on easy, so it wasn't terrible, but I did die a bunch in some of those parts.
Yeah, I think I died a lot in that encounter, and it was mostly from fall damage. As stupid as that is, the walkways to this thing. We'll get to. I'm getting ahead of it.
You're fine.
But I'll get to that later. I died. The most I died in this. I played it on normal because I'm not as hardcore as I used to be. I don't hate myself that much to play it on legendary or heroic or anything like that. I could probably do fine in heroic, but I'm good. The parts I died at that part was a pain in the ass, and the other parts that I had a problem with were anything involving the vehicles. Anything where it was like, you must use a vehicle now. I was like, oh, I hate how these fucking control. They're not good. I just hate everything about it. The only one I like is the Ghost. Ghost is fine, but yeah.
I mean, the Ghost, and one thing I forgot about this game is I forgot you can't hijack vehicles in this game. Like, I was at a Ghost, I tried, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's in Halo 2.
That's Halo 2. Halo 2, like, really, like, I was like, okay, all the elements that were good in this, let's just improve upon that. Halo 2 is really great for a lot of stuff like that. Yeah, a lot of the elements to what made Halo really great came about in the next game.
Yeah, I mean, this game it's all right. Like, I had fun playing it. I mean, I played the Anniversary Collection because that's the way you should play this game. Oh, God, does it look pretty compared to the original Xbox.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Like, I love that it gives you that ability to swap between the two graphic styles. You can just see all the, like, bland textures on the old versions. Like, how did we play this back in the day?
Well, here's the thing that and this, I could be very wrong. You might have to look this up because I'm kind of curious. So I think in the Anniversary Collection, when you switch back to the old graphical style, it's really neat to see it. And obviously, you usually go, okay, yeah, that's enough of that, very fast.
Yep, right away.
The thing about it is I believe that the old graphic style is based on a bad port of the game. I want to say they based it on the PC port of Halo, which wasn't that good. And I think it was made by Gearbox or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. So a lot of the textures look like kind of flat and muddy. Because I remember a lot of the stuff looking a lot better than what it does. I think the enemy types look fine in Classic, and there's certainly levels where the mood is completely different compared to the remaster thing. Like when you go to like the second level and you see the Halo in the background, if you switch back and forth, like the remaster kind of makes it like sort of be like just kind of faded in the background, but like in the old version that it's super prominent. And it's something. Like I really, there's certain bits and pieces, like the library, terrible level. We'll get to it.
God.
The library, for instance, the remaster actually improves it a lot because it adds arrows on the floor.
Yep,
fucking God.
I played that. I would switch over every so often. I'm like, how the fuck do you figure this out? Because it's just an endless thing.
You wandered and prayed that you got through the level is basically
and the flood are endless. Like I want to say they just keep spawning.
I think so. I know at some points like I would get it to where it was like, oh yeah, checkpoint reached because I killed everything, but it was very few and far between. And most of the time it was just like, no, just keep moving, never stop moving, just keep going forward as much as you can until it stops you. But But I will say this about the library, the remaster doesn't quite capture like the mood of that like as well as I would like. It looks good, but like if you switch back, it's like super dark and it's almost like has this like survival horror-ish feel. I actually like the way the floods look a little bit better in classic mode because you can tell where like a being was and that another thing took it over, and like you still get that a little bit in the remaster, but not as much, you know.
The flood in the remastered look gross as hell. Like there's one where you'd see like a human head popping out of like the left hand side of it.
Yeah,
I
there's I know which one you're talking about, and that one does look good, but there are like other ones that I think they're like smaller guys. They're supposed to be like the Marines that got taken over or something like that, and like they don't look like anything in the remaster to me. It only looks like something when you actually switch to the original, and you're like, oh yeah, this was a person that got his insides eaten or whatever the hell the flood does. I don't honestly know what they do.
Well, I want to say they're like parasite zombies. Like
yes, they are parasite zombies. I do know that much, but I don't know how exactly they work. I know in like 2 you can actually see them like crawl into people's bodies, and it's pretty cool.
I was one question I did have. I wonder if it was just me or not, but like it felt like every so often they would take over. Like so I would kill someone, then a little popcorn would run over and revitalize it. Maybe
yes, that is the mechanic. Yes, it's okay. A lot more prominent in Halo 2, okay. But in Halo 1, if you don't clean up those guys with like an assault rifle, they will crawl into a body, and that's why those guys will come back to life sometimes. So
okay, because it happened to me more often than I like, because I would actually avoid, because I'm playing on easy, so the little popcorn things don't really hurt me. Like they could just hit me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, I don't care. So I'd leave them a lot of times. I wouldn't bother with them.
Right. Indeed. Yeah, no, actually one of the best ways to deal with those guys, because they don't deal very much damage, is to just stand there and let them pop on your shield. It's actually one of the best ways to deal with them. Like the assault rifle certainly works. Like if you're out of shield, they will kill you very fast. But if you have shield, just let them pop on the shield. It's fine. I want to say
that's another thing about this game that would have been something real big at the time, is that it had a shield. Like most games didn't have a regenerating health bar. You just had your health bar. You got, like, at least for me, I hadn't played many shooters at this point. The last one I probably would have put hours into was Perfect Dark.
Right.
Which is, you have a health bar, you have a body armor, but you didn't have a regenerating health bar. And I feel like this is kind of when that started a lot.
Yeah, this is the dawn of that whole thing. And I really like it, especially for a console game. Honestly, this is why I think I like Halo as much as I do, because I don't play first person shooters. It's one of my least favorite genres. Like I'm here to tell you, like, I don't like first person games very much. They scare the shit out of me. This one actually scares the shit out of me too. Like I'm on edge when I play this game, like more than most. I am the twitchiest motherfucker. Like it's just how I operate. Like it makes me actually pretty good at it, because like if that cursor turns red, I immediately pull the trigger like faster than you've ever seen. But I don't play a lot of first-person shooters, but I always appreciated Halo because, like, if I was getting hit by something, I knew when I was getting hit, because you would hear that beep, 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 and you're like, oh, okay, all right, back up, and get out of there. Like, you're in trouble. And, like, I always love that indicator. Like, I know when to get in and out of danger. Like, other games, they kind of try to copy it and do their own thing, like Call of Duty does, the blood splotches and, the screen turns red or whatever.
Yeah.
But and that's fine, but at the same time, I'm like, I just have always appreciated Halo. It's a lot cleaner to me. Like, you know when you're in trouble and you know when to back out, but you still have full cognitive sense of what's happening. Where, like, I get what Call of Duty's going for. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying I prefer this one, and it doesn't terrify me as much. Like, oh no, I'm dead, and I don't know.
No, I know where you're coming from, and I agree with you. Like, it does a good way of communicating to the player that, like, you need to get out of here if there's trouble or not. You don't ever feel confused. Like, you can usually figure out where, the shit is coming from, where you need to go. Like, it does a good job of that. And the reason I don't hate the Flood, because like I said before, I don't like Covenant weapons. When you fight the Flood, I get to use human weapons, so I'm happy.
Right.
Because I hate all the fucking Covenant weapons in this game. Like, I get better as the series progresses, but I hate the ones you start with in this game. Like,
oh man, I was gonna say, so I was in the same boat as you when I started this most recent playthrough, and I was kind of, and then I got sidetracked, because it's me and that's what I do. I get sidetracked. But I went out of my comfort zone a lot in this playthrough, and I was just messing with a lot of the alien weapons. So I found the plasma pistol to be absolutely amazing this time, and I was picking them up the entire time. They will drop shields like no other, and they don't have a filter on how fast you can pull the trigger. So as fast as you can mash the trigger, that's how fast the little laser bullets are coming out. You can charge that shot while you're walking around, hit a guy with a shield, and then just immediately drop him or just switch weapons real quick and drop him after his shield's gone. Like there was a ton of little tricks I was doing. The plasma rifle that all the elites carry around, I was using that to like drop like sentinels later in the game, like no problem. They would melt like
they
any
were
of the
tough.
other elites.
They were tough to beat. The sentinels are not fun to kill when you're using human weapons. They take a while.
Exactly. That's why like you had to kind of switch. I made it like a point that I was like, I'm always gonna have an alien weapon on me, not the needler because it's terrible. But always have an alien weapon, always have a human weapon. So if flood shows up or when I drop a guy's shield, I have this, or so on and so forth. And I was like, this is how this was made. This is what they had in mind. I think you need certain weapons for certain situations. Like they're constantly like, hey, here's a sniper rifle. You're definitely going to be in a sniping section pretty soon here. Get ready. It's like, okay, great. But yeah, I really enjoyed messing with the alien weapons this time because I used to be in the same way too, where I was like, yeah, I don't like these. There's something about them that doesn't feel like a gun. Does that make sense?
Well, the pistol is kind of useless in this game. Halo 2, they fixed it where you can charge it and then it homes, which is terrible.
It still does that. It does that in this game.
It homes in this one too, kind of?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, I just don't like it.
And it's even better. It's even more overpowered in this one because if you charge it in Halo 2, it drains the battery as you're charging it. In this one, it only takes one little pip of battery when you go for a full charge. It's actually a little bit overpowered.
I just remember it in Halo 2 because people would charge it, lock onto you, hit you with it, switch to the BR, and then shoot you in the head and kill you.
Yeah, the best thing to do in Halo 2, because you could dual wield, was you charge the plasma pistol, hit them with a charge shot, and then SMG them to death because it instantly would eat health, like instant.
I never did that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I have it done to you one time. You're like, okay, that's the game we're playing now.
Like
this is it.
Back when I played Halo 2, there was a lot of the BR trick where they would charge the pistol, shoot you with the pistol, and then BR you in the head right when it hits you.
I see.
I hated that. That was hard too to do. People used to do it all the time to me.
I believe it. Yeah, I was the first of my group in Halo 2 to get really good with the sword. I was the one that figured out the sword mechanics before anybody else, and it took people weeks to figure out what I was actually doing. It's pretty nice.
That's one thing that made me sad in this game, like this playthrough, is that the sword isn't usable. Like I love the sword. I saw the sword, I'm like, oh yeah, you can't use it in this game.
Yeah, I have a feeling that was like a time thing or something like that. There was probably a lot of stuff where they're like, yeah, we'll get that next game. Like we want to do it. It's not perfected quite yet. We almost have it, but it's hard telling. That's one of those like dev stories I'd love to get a good insight on. But yeah, I miss the sword too. Every time I've seen a sword guy, I was like, oh, jeez.
Mike, I gotta ask, did you have a favorite weapon in this game?
As far as the Covenant weapons go, I think the only thing I picked up was that pistol, and it easily had my favorite melee. Or instead of pistol whipping, he just full on punches at enemies.
Like, just throws a right hook.
So satisfying. Like the melee in general feels like it's overpowered because you drop a brute shield and you take him out into punch or two. So much fun. Yeah, well.
Brutes are in Halo 3 on.
The melee is very good against the alien guys, especially when their shields are down. But it is actually really bad against the Flood. Like if you go to try to melee those guys, they just sit there and just look at you like you're stupid, and you are for trying to do that.
It worked. I use melee all the time on elites, shackles, grunts. I love punching a grunt when he's running. You go, oh no, and I just punch him. That was satisfying.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you're right. The Flood, it doesn't. I tried it. They just don't. They're like, that's nice.
Yeah,
they'll just kill you.
I believe it's. I was watching a playthrough, and they were like, "Let's see how many actual melee strikes it takes to knock these guys down." And I believe it was 9.
Oh damn!
So yeah, don't do that.
I mean, that's where this game really changed. Like when this game starts off, like I'll give a brief intro to the story. Like, because you're on a ship that escaped from Reach, because Reach has been destroyed by the Covenant. You were trying to escape, but then you ended up being stopped by a squadron of Covenant. You ended up running into I forget what they call it. Probably not a squadron. You fall into a set of the enemy that's been parked outside this Halo, and you don't know what to do. So they crash the ship into the Halo to try to survive, because if they stay in the air, they're just going to get blown up. As you see, you get raided right in the first level. You're on the ship fighting Covenant, which I like that first level, trying to escape and trying to get out of there. And like this whole game is you're on this Halo, and this is when the first time they ever run into a Halo, they have no idea what a Halo is. And I had forgotten that the whole beginning of this, like you're doing the Halo, like you're being lied to by this little Guilty Spark 343, a little AI that's telling you to go get this device, whatever the hell it is, and plug it into a hole, and then you'll activate the Halo and kill the Covenant. What they think.
No, that's not how that goes. Guilty Spark, and that's the whole library thing. Guilty Spark is trying to. Okay, so the Covenant awakened the Flood. The Flood is the big bad here.
Oh yeah, and he's trying to activate the Halo.
Yes,
but he doesn't tell you why he's trying. He makes it thing like he tricks you.
Yes, he basically says we need to stop the Flood. We need to activate the Halo. It will activate the defenses of the Halo, and that's how we get rid of the Flood. Easy. And you're like, okay, great. So you go through, and then you go to do the thing, and then Cortana shows up, and she's like, hey, you should probably talk to this guy, because that is not trying to do what you think he's doing, because the Halo is designed to kill the Flood's food, which is all organic life, because it's like a parasite zombie or whatever. So if it doesn't have anything to feed off of, then it's, it dies essentially. But it's a really bad, it's like the most AI way of solving a problem, basically. Is like, hey, we just kill all the organic life, it's fine, whatever. If they don't have anything to feed off of, they can't live. It's
also based on in the canon, the Forerunners are the ones who built everything, built the Halo, built everything you're on, and that they designed it because they couldn't stop the Flood, and the Flood is what killed them.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, they have to get rid of the Flood. Flood very bad. They are a problem. I will agree. I
will say that first time you see them is a straight up horror movie moment. Like you end up finding a dead guy's camera, and you put the camera on your head, and you're watching the camera, and you see them talking, and all of a sudden the Flood just come out and just start ripping apart the few humans that are left. Like it is pretty brutal.
It's a pretty neat scene.
It's definitely like straight out of Alien or something.
I was just gonna say that. I was waiting. Yeah, it's definitely like, we know, guys. We watched Aliens. I was like, yep.
It's good though. Like it's.
Oh yeah.
And I like it how and then the guy that you find is the guy that ran away. I like that too.
That's very true. Yeah. Oh man, I like that level. That level is really cool, actually. When you first run into the Flood. I don't remember the exact level. That's is that Truth and Consequences, or is that earlier? I don't remember.
These levels have the dumbest names in the world.
I disagree. The names of the ships in Halo are fucking awesome. Pillar of Autumn, strong ship name. Truth and Consequences, strong ship name. The level, Silent Cartographer. Actually, that's pretty cool too. Honestly, I think that's a cool name.
Assault in the Control Room, 343 Guilty Spark, the Library, 2 Betrayals, Keys, and the Mall.
Yeah, okay. I didn't say all the level names were great. I just said the ship names, great. They're fucking awesome. And
I have no problem with the ship names. I have complained before about the names of the enemies being very generic, but it fits when you have to think of the idea that the enemies are named just because they are saying it's the Marines naming them what they look like to them, and so it makes sense when you look at it like that way. Like that's what it is.
Right. That makes sense.
It's not.
But yeah.
I mean, I had, I enjoyed most of this game. Like, the levels weren't as big as I remember them being big. Like, I remember levels being just huge, wide open spaces you're trying to run around in. And besides the library just being overly annoying, it didn't feel I didn't have too much of a problem with it this time.
Right. The thing, I always had this judgment about the levels in Halo, and I still do. And I was, this was back in the day when I was in high school. And I remember playing through the campaign, and I went, why does all these levels look the same? Like everything's the same. Like we're just doing the same thing over and over again. And my friend be like, shut up, it's great. And I was like, no, it's lazy. This is lazy game design. Like you did the same thing over and over and just put different encounters. Now I realize they're probably what their thought process is here is that hey, we want the player to know the layout. And then we're just that way they feel awesome because they know where they're at. They know how to handle this. And now it's just dealing with the encounter that we've set up. So I get it. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but it's going on way too long. Like at certain points, you're just like, dude, come on. Something different now, please. Just a different thing. And then
I agree.
Yeah.
It gets annoying.
Levels.
You spend too much time running around on the Halo in the same type of area. Like you have a couple levels where you're driving around a Warthog or in a large. Like there's one level where your whole thing is like the second and the third level. You just have to go and take out 3 or 4 different camps.
Yeah,
and it just felt very stupid to me. Like I didn't like that, and And as you're talking about, as you progress, like you start off outside, but it doesn't take long before you're just running around in ruins, and it's
Right.
not. It's all the same thing.
Yeah, it's basically like, you know, the setup for and here's where I'll get to that thing that I alluded to earlier. This is how we set up podcasts, I guess. I don't know how to do it. I'm just saying the lore behind this that I remember somebody giving me, and I remember being like, that's stupid, but fine. Was like, hey, they designed it this way so because when, you know, no matter where you're at in Halo, you know where you are, you know the layout. So that's why the Forerunners designed it like that. And I was like, that's just an excuse to have shitty level design. I don't.
Yeah, no, I
don't
agree.
think that's correct at all.
It gets annoying. Like I like it. There's a couple levels where you're on a Covenant ship. Those I enjoyed. Those were my favorite type levels. I'm not crazy about a lot of the other stuff that you do in this game.
Yeah, there's a certain point where the game, I think, takes a steep decline in quality, in level design wise. I love the debut of the Flood. I love that level because it starts out in this like murky ass foggy forest or jungle type thing, and then you go into this ship, and then there's nothing. It's the calmest thing in the world, and you're like, okay, good. Something's wrong. And that's a really cool setup to be, because you immediately go, I haven't run into anything for a while now, something's about to go down. And then when it does, and it's like, okay, now you have to make your way all the way out of the level. I was like, this is pretty cool. This is a great design for a level. I as I was alluding to earlier, like the one level, and I don't remember the name of this level because I blocked it from my memory forever. When you're just running around in the same spot, and like you're just running into these little, I don't know, they're little like circular rooms, and you just have an encounter there, and then you move on to the next circular room, and you have an encounter there, and you move on to the next circular room, and you have an encounter there, and then you're outside for a little bit, and then you go into another circular room, and you have an encounter there, and you go into another circular room, and you have an encounter. If that sounds repetitive, that's how the game is. And then
I can't remember what you're talking about, but I can't remember what level, but I know what you're talking about.
Exactly. It's pretty memorable once you do it, because you're like, okay, this again, here we go. And then the game goes, you loved that the first time, right? At the end, let's do it again, but now you're going the other way. And I was like, no, guys, I didn't. That was fine once. Like, I don't want to go through it again. But the Flood's here now. That's crazy, right? No, it's not. It's really not. It's even worse now. Like,
I do have a question for you. Did you run into a suicidal Banshee?
Where they just dive bomb you?
Near the end, you go into a snowy field, and I came out, and for some reason I had this Banshee that kept the Flooder already in the game, and this Banshee kept killing me. I died more than 10 times on the stupid Banshee, because time
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes,
okay.
Yes, and okay, I'm pretty sure it might even be the level I'm talking about, because you have to fly Banshees to get up to the little spots or whatever.
Two Betrayals is the level.
Oh, there you go. Okay,
that is not a fun part where you're just trying to wander around to find the generator. Yeah, I did not enjoy any of that.
Yeah, that was always the problem I had with the levels. Now the remaster, I will give it a lot of credit. It does a lot of good things to kind of help guide you a little bit. It does a lot of Half-Life tricks where it's like, hey, green lights, that's progress. Hey, look at these lights over here, that's progress. And you're like, okay, cool. Hey, arrows on the floor that point in the direction that you need to go, because we realize this level is really badly designed. So here we go. Like, that stuff, that's great. I enjoyed that. After I played I was like, oh, I'm going on this thing, I'm going to play all classic graphics. And then very quickly I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. Not doing that. I could. Oh, I could. But I was like, I don't hate myself this much anymore. I'm just gonna. It's fine. I know. I know what it looked like. I played it.
Whenever it told me I need to interact with a Switch or something, I'd switch it back to the classic graphics just so the Switch or whatever would stand out more.
Yeah.
Against all the high def textures.
That was some of the biggest boss fights in the game for me. Was actually trying to find where the fuck switches were, because I was like, okay, game, I know I need to hit a thing, but I don't know where this thing is. Where do I go? I have no idea. And then I'd find it and feel really dumb.
The second level, they're arriving on Halo. You go into the Warhog and kill a bunch of enemies, and Cortana's like, okay, we just need to activate the switch and activate the light bridge. I'm looking all around these two rooms, like, okay, where is the switch? I ended up having to pull up a walkthrough, and it's up on
It's-
this
yeah.
ledge. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, do they give you a good it's kind of like a half jump scare. You turn the corner and the guy's like standing right in your face or whatever. I remember that part. I'm pretty sure that's the part. I shot that guy pretty good.
There's a lot of dumb
I don't.
shit like that.
Yeah, they only did that like that. They love with the flood. They love to do the door into jump scare. Well, it's not even a jump scare. It's just like the flood's here. Let's have them when they open the door, all the little guys pour out on them, and it doesn't like hurt you because those guys can't really do anything. But like it's just like, oh, look at the flood! Ah, they're crazy. They're everywhere, and it's like, all right, I get it. I know the first level has like a thing where you open up a door and like one of the blue elites. Like I think this is how they introduced enemies too. Is like the first like encounter with the blue elite guy is like he's just in your face. He's like ah, and then you get shot or something, and you can actually go through the door. I don't remember exactly how it works.
I can't remember either. I know the elites are in the first level. You get introduced them, but first you fight the grunts before you meet the elites.
Right, and then I think the part on the bridge is where you get run into one of the like red elites because I think that's the guy on the bridge or whatever. He's like kind of guarding it, and he doesn't move, so he doesn't show up on your radar or anything like that. You just turn a corner and he's there. You're like, fuck you, man. It's bullshit. But yeah. But yeah, I have a lot of judgments of the game overall, like level design wise, but like I don't know, certain parts of it were pretty good.
I had fun. Like that's the thing.
I
did. I did
Absolutely.
fun, but I'm not passionate about this game.
Mm.
It's just I thought I'd be more into it because I really like Reach and I played this and I'm like I'm not. This game doesn't do it. The first one does not do it for me.
Yeah, it's kind of like, a lot of series where you play the first one and you're like, oh, I see the seeds of what they did here. Like they have, this is the foundation that everything that going forward was built on. Like the series really like came into its own in 2. Like say what you will about the Halo 2 campaign. I know a lot of people really down about it. Like, and I understand it ends on a cliffhanger. It's short, all these other things. I totally understand that. I didn't care because I didn't play it for the campaign. I did not. I flat out is same here. I didn't play Halo for the campaign. I played it for the multiplayer. And that's
Same.
that's the big thing going into it. Like us, I'm guessing us 3 on this podcast probably didn't mess with any of the multiplayer. I'm sure you can. I know Master Chief Collection. You can get on there and
Yeah,
do
you
that.
can. I didn't because I played as Master Chief Collection, of course, but yeah, I didn't do any of that shit.
Exactly. Yeah, and you have to like remember that like that's what this game was. This was like, hey, multiplayer first person shooter, really fun. It really is. And like Halo did a lot of stuff. Like I said, I said this earlier, it's kind of the Half-Life of console shooters. Like that style of game, the way it feels to play, like everything's a little bit slower in Halo than like a Doom or something like that, where it's just like everything's really fast paced. You're always moving. You're on the ground. You can't, you don't have dual stick analog or anything like that. But it's very fast. Everything's fast. Got to go fast. Unreal Tournament, stuff like that. Everything's fast.
You're right. It doesn't play like that. But it also kind of plays in a way that had stick with so many games for a long time.
Exactly. It was this Halo set the fucking bar on that. Like that game very quickly went, hey, this is the bar now. Like if you can't raise it or meet it, your game sucks. Because you can complain about like Halo is a very slow game, and that could be a complaint for you, and I'd understand. But at the time, you have to remember that like this was like one of the first to my memory. Like this is the first time I had experienced it anyway, and I'm sure it was the first time a lot of other people had. That this was the first time you had those dual stick controls, so it was like,
it was for me.
Hey, yeah, exactly. And I'm not saying they didn't have dual stick controls for other games. I'm saying this was like the first time a first person shooter did it and got it like so right.
Yeah, I think you are right, because you might have had some on PS1 or PS2, and right. This is right the same. But I can't think of it. He's the only one that really comes to mind from that time.
It's probably because they like make it feel like whatever PC game it was or something like that. It just didn't have that feel. Halo was like, hey, console people don't have this kind of aim, and if you as like you do with a mouse and keyboard, it's easy. You point the mouse, you click the button, it shoots. Easy. Console, you don't have that same kind of thing, So hey, we need to slow everything down so you can actually get a beat on these guys. Everything has to be a little bit slower, but not too slow, but just slow enough, like they really walked a fine line with it. And it's honestly, like, if you really stop and think about it, it's really impressive how right they got it. Because like if they didn't get it right, it wouldn't be fun. Like, you wouldn't have a good time at all. You'd just be like, this game sucks. Like, I can't aim at anything. And they even, like, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but with certain guns, if you draw a bead on a guy and just let it sit and don't press anything, it'll track them a little bit. Not too much, but just a little bit. And that's just, they gave you just enough aim assist to where you can know, where you don't even really notice it unless you're looking for it. And that's really interesting and neat, because you need something like that on a console. Because like, if you don't, I'm sure they don't do it in multiplayer. I don't know. I didn't play that for a while.
Probably not. I mean,
Yeah.
you are right though. Like, even GoldenEye has a very much for the game, because I mean that was the only real first-person shooter I played before the GoldenEye Perfect Dark, where it will help track the enemy for you because they understand that you're not playing this with mouse and keyboard.
Right.
I mean, Call of Duty, you get as Call of Duty and everything progresses in the world of gaming, we get away from that because we understand now how to aim. I mean, there might be a little bit of auto aim, but it's much more hidden.
Right.
Where in this game, it's not as hidden because they're still learning.
Exactly. This was the progenitor of a lot of things. Like, a lot of games need to thank Halo for getting it right and being like, hey, if you want to do first-person shooters, and they're a big deal. They were even back then. A lot of people really enjoyed this game. This was the first one to bring it to console and make everybody go, oh, we get it now. This is great. Because like I said, I didn't give a shit about first-person shooters before Halo, and I really don't now. But like, this was the first one where I was like, oh, this is actually fun. I'm actually having a good time, and it was a great party game. Like, you got a group of friends together, you sat down in a LAN party, and you played fucking Halo in whoever's bedroom, and then you lost and had to switch bedrooms. It was a whole thing. We had a whole system. It was great.
Okay,
it was fun, man.
So, a couple of things I do want to mention. Like, one thing about the story of this game is that, like, as you figure out that the Halo is meant to destroy the food, you end up realizing that the only way to stop the Halo is to set off the Pillar of Autumn, which crashed on the Halo. And to do that, you have to do what... I mean, I got irritated, but it was probably my favorite level when you go into the Covenant ship near the end and you're trying to go find Captain Keyes, because you've already been on a Covenant ship earlier, but now there's Flood on it, so it's different. And it is fun when the Flood and Covenant are fighting each other, and they just start trying... They're killing each other. I mean, it doesn't take long before they turn on you, but it is cool to see that dynamic of two different factions fighting each other. And, like, when you find Keyes and he's all mutated up and all been flooded, and you just pull the thing out of his head, like, that's still a cool scene.
Yeah, that level is fun, because if you walk in on the infighting during it and you're good at throwing grenades like I am, you can skip entire encounters. Like, everybody just blows up and you're just like, all right, well, keep walking here.
I use grenades a lot later in the game because I kind of had to.
Right.
And they give, like you said before, they give them you everywhere you go.
Oh yeah, they are very liberal with giving grenades. They want you to throw them. Should
we talk about how dumb the last level is in this game? I don't like the last level.
Okay, I like the idea of it. Go back to the start. I think it's a full circle type thing. I think it's really neat for that reason. I think everything leading up to the kind of last encounter with 343 Guilty Spark is pretty decent and good. It's when you get to that last little bit where it's like, okay, now we gotta stop 343 Guilty Spark. Okay, what we gotta do, Cortana? We gotta blow up the reactor, and that'll do something. I don't remember exactly. But it'll do something. Just you gotta start them up. You're gonna go up to these little control panels. There's 4 of them, and then it's gonna start this vent thing. What you're gonna do is you're gonna throw a grenade in there. And I was like, okay, that's fine, but the vents open and close, and it's... Oh my god, this fucking part is such horseshit.
They don't end. Like, I feel like you had enough time to open them, but you fight a ton of floods. Like, I died multiple times in this part and I'm playing on easy just to get the grenades in the vents.
The problem I had, and I was alluding to this earlier, the problem I had was the walkways were so narrow to actually do this on that I would get hit by a flood and I would start walking backwards because that's my natural response to like getting hit is just walk backwards. And then I would just fall off the edge. And there were parts where I was like, oh, there's a wall here. And I'd start walking backwards and there would be just the slightest little crack that I would fall all the way through the floor and die. I died so many times from fucking fall damage that I was livid.
Yeah, you can't take a lot of fall damage, and also like there are spots that just like they have holes in this game that just kill you all the time.
I've walked into many of them because I cannot see very well. It's just not a thing I'm good at doing. This part sucks though because like it gives you like you almost had to like jump on the little like things that move out of the way just to get a decent angle to throw the things, and then they're also spawning in sentinels as soon as you do it, and it was maddening. I was so fucking livid with this part. Like I was like this. I almost went, this is where the game ends. I'm done. I can't. I'm not gonna do it.
And then that warthog part again is also just so like I don't like it.
I didn't have any problem with that actually.
I failed because I like midway through the warthog part, you get to a part where it tells you to stop. So I stopped and waited, and the ship blows up, and then the Banshee shot me off, and then I had to do the whole part over again.
Oh yeah, no,
So don't stop.
Yeah. I think I stopped, but the thing I think I did was I got in the gunner seat because I was like, something's gonna happen. So I started like shooting at the things. I think I blew one of them up, and then it was like, okay, you gotta go again. You gotta go. And it's like, all right. And got in the driver's seat. I didn't have any problem with that. I actually really think that part's kind of cool. It's like this really interesting little grand finale thing where everything's blowing up around you. The Warthog controls like Warthog, and it's never been very good.
It's especially bad in this game. They haven't really worked on it yet, and it's like you have to go forward with the left joystick, but the right joystick will send whatever the front is, and that's what direction you go in.
Yeah, it's really awkward to control. They always has been, in my opinion. It's always been. They tweaked it here and there, but it's always kind of been the same thing where it's like you control with the analog sticks, and it's weird.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan. I want to say it was 2. It might have been 3. At some point, when you got into a Warthog mission, the fun thing to do was, especially if you're playing by yourself, was to just get in the gunner seat and let the computer drive you. I don't remember which one of them actually did that, but like I wish it was in this one because you have to drive and let the AI do the guns, and they can't shoot for shit. And it's terrible.
They're okay at easy. Like I did it a few times just because I would always be in the driver's seat, so I'd get people in the gunner seat, and they did okay. Like they could hold their own.
Oh man, they can't on normal. You might as well just do it all yourself. You might as well just get out of the fucking thing, get in the gunner seat yourself, and kick them out because they're not going to do anything. They're terrible.
I was able to run down enemies faster than they could shoot them.
Yeah, I had the problem with they would just like ninja dive out of the way. I was like, how? I don't. This is bullshit.
A lot of this game has some bullshit to it. I mean, it's a good game, but there's some bullshit. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
Like as I was saying with the Warthog ending, like the end of this game doesn't have an epic boss fight, doesn't have anything. It's just you driving for your life while everything is blowing up, and then you jump, and then you had to get out of my Warthog, run up, and then you get on the ship, and you're done.
Yeah, I think that 343 Guilty Spark like encounter thing was their idea of a boss fight. It's a terrible idea for a boss fight. It really is, but that was what they wanted, how they wanted to do that. And it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, they don't really introduce a boss here or anything like that. I think it would have been really cool. I think if I was doing this game, I would have made a boss fight out of the Keys thing. I would have made that like, this is your final encounter. Keys is like flooded out or whatever, and now you got to kill him, and he's big bad flood man. So you got to shoot him with the guns. I think that would have been neat instead of just like, you run into him, you pull the thing out of his head.
And then a bunch of Elite and Flood show up.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe just Flood. I can't remember.
Yeah,
Flood,
they only have so many
5 times in that part. So yeah,
yeah, that part is bullshit too. They only have so many resources. I understand that it was probably new hardware that they were working with the entire time. But like, I don't know. I have issues with the game, but at the same time, I'm like, I give them a pass on so much. I don't know. They got so much right that the stuff that they get wrong, I'm like, it's fine. I'm not super upset by it.
No, it's a good game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I know I'm complaining a little bit, but it's a good game.
Oh yeah, I am too. Absolutely. And I
what I
will
do here.
continue to complain about it. And rightfully so. There are just spots where you go back to play this and you go, "Oh yeah, this doesn't age super well, but I see what they were going for and I know why they had to do this." Yeah.
I just couldn't get over when I would switch tab and I'm like, oh god, this game does not look the way I remember it.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah, like I said, I think that comes down to whatever port that's the classic mode is going off of, but I could be very wrong.
I mean, I do remember the PC version for Halo not being as good as the original one. I remember hearing that before.
Right, exactly. But there's just, man, there's a ton of tiny little details that I'm like, wow, they thought of that. That's neat. Like the I don't know if either of you guys noticed this or knew this or not, but when you use the assault rifle, did you ever notice that it has a compass attached to it?
Huh, no.
Yes, it's not very good, but yes, I know.
It's practically useless, but it's a neat little touch. Like it doesn't really do anything. Like knowing where north is doesn't matter. But like it's cool. Like that little arrow that moves around as you're walking. That's a compass. Like it's such an unnecessary detail to put on that thing, but it's cool that it's there. I'm just like, oh, that's so cool. Like I get it. That's neat. And I didn't notice that my first playthrough. And then this time I was like, oh, that's really cool. I like that. That's awesome. Even though the battle rifle's a piece of shit. Stand by it.
Assault rifle. Yeah.
Assault rifle. Yeah, battle rifle's
next.
Battle rifle was good. That battle rifle's good.
Yeah, well, we might do Halo 2 someday on the show. I don't know because neither me or Mike are big Halo fans. So
yeah. I'd be curious to check it out.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things where it's worth going back to. The Halo, especially the early Halos, and I know I keep saying this a lot, and I'm sorry, but I definitely mean this. You didn't play Halo for the campaign. You played it for the multiplayer.
Yeah, not definitely.
Yeah, and not having that experience makes it a little tricky to go back to and play for something like this, because you're basically the format here is like we go through the single player campaign, we talk about that, and that's as it should be. And Halo's single player campaign, not really its strongest point. I know there's a lot of people get into the lore and stuff. I'm not a lore guy. I don't care. I love the multiplayer of Halo though. I absolutely adore it. And that's where my memory, if you ask me Halo, I'd be like, yeah, multiplayer, playing LAN parties. That's my memories of that game, not the campaign. The campaign can kind of suck it. I don't really care.
That's all I know. I stayed away from the other part, but I know I get exactly where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a little tricky to cover, because like unless you have a time machine and can go back and experience that part of the game, like it's a little tricky to kind of remember. I'm kind of that's how I feel about this one, but I definitely have fond memories of it. Oh, absolutely. I definitely have fond memories of it. And it's one of those things that, like, if I did have an OG Xbox, which I think I do, here's another fun thing about Halo multiplayer is later on down the line, almost at the death of the Xbox, somebody somehow, if you had a modded Xbox, like a lot of my friends did, you could mod Halo. And what you could do is you could change all the bullets that shot out of every gun. Let's say you want to put rocket launcher rounds in the pistol. They will shoot as fast as pistol rounds, but blow up like the rocket launcher.
Oh, the rocket launcher was terrible. I hate it. I died so many times with that rocket launcher in this game. Yeah, like I remember in 2, I would jump and shoot it at somebody, I'd be okay. In this game, I jumped and shot it, and I was the one that died.
Yeah, it was not particularly strong. I basically avoided it every time they were trying to give it to me. They're like, look, a rocket launcher. That guy's shooting rockets at you. Don't you want that? I was like, nah, I'm good. I don't need it. What kind of thing. But yeah, the rockets. Anyway, what was I saying? I can't remember now.
That's fine. I'm about to move on to questions, I think, here. Do you have any last things you want to say before we wrapping up?
I think I said all I want to say, honestly. I think yeah, I did. I got a good chunk of in there. The game, I had a really good time. It was a fun thing to go back to. It's one of those things that I wish I could play multiplayer on again, and I probably could if I really, really wanted to. I mean,
it's out there in the Master Chief Collection. You can. I don't know if the multiplayer is based on the first game or if it's based on Reach or if you pick parties based on what each game that's out. Because as of this recording, well,
I think that's how it works. I think that last thing you said. I think it's like if you're playing Halo 1, you play Halo 1 multiplayer, and it's by Halo 1 set of rules. But
Okay.
Whether people join the games, I don't know. I don't know which
I know
one's
it has Reach. I know Halo 2 is on the Chief Collection, and 3, they have not released 3 ODST or 4 yet on the PC version.
Okay.
It's only Reach came out first, and then they released Halo 1, and then they released Halo 2, and now I already own the collection because I bought it to do Reach on the show back in episode 54. You should check that out.
Hold on. I have one last thing I need to talk about.
Sure.
I just remembered. I'm very sorry.
That's fine.
Okay. Actually, might be multiple. Music in this game, fucking incredible. I'm just going to say that right now.
I can't say anything.
I know you don't care because you're a monster. Music in this game is amazing. Just so good, so drum focused, like just absolutely gorgeous composition. Like there's just times where I was like, holy shit, man, Phil Collins would fucking love this right now. This fucking shit is great. Like I'm not even a big Phil Collins fan, but I was like, damn, did Genesis do this? This is fucking awesome. Like, man, it was so different for its time. I remember that being a thing even back in the day, being like, man, the music is really cool in this. And which leads me to my last thing here. My favorite title screen of all time. That title screen for Halo is absolutely great. Just that opening chorus line and then that kick into the guitar part. Oh, it's magic. And that just fantasy space Halo thing. Oh, I remember even seeing that and just being like, God, this is such a good title screen. The remaster doesn't really do it justice. Like it's a little the same, but like I even had a glitch in my version of the game where it would do the opening chorus line, but it would stop too early. And I'm picky as fuck. And I was like, no, this is wrong. Everything about this is wrong. This is wrong. I'm very mad. There's a quiet part, then it kicks in. God damn it.
I listened to some of the music, but I didn't really care. But I did have headphones in most of this game because I need to hear the monsters trying to kill me. So I probably heard a lot of music. I just wasn't paying attention.
Right. Well, we've established before you're a monster.
Yes. I don't listen. I only have certain games where I listen to music nonstop. And you are right. Gearbox did develop the PC version of this game.
Aha, I was right. Yeah, I think they were what
Gearbox.
franchise doesn't Gearbox ruin? They ruin everything.
Gearbox has some issues. Like, yeah, that's all.
That's a whole. We could do a whole podcast about how much I hate Gearbox.
Why would they fuck it? Why would they fuck Gearbox like that? You know, some people get that joke out there.
Oh, I get.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Randy Pitchford.
Yeah. When they gave a bad review on Game Informer or something like that. They said something. He tweeted back. Why are you trying to fuck me on that? That was
microtransactions. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Randy Pitchford is
crazy.
He's a character. I'll tell you that much. He's going into medieval times and dropping USB drives. Look that up sometime if you don't know what I'm talking about.
I know a little about the US.
That's a fun story. That guy's a fucking idiot. Anyway, I'm good. I've got my piece. That was all I needed to say there.
Okay. We're gonna go to questions, comments, or memories. I actually got a few, because there's the Halo group I posted in too. So first I'm going to mention some from Overblood. Let's see here. First one from Jarrett Quinn Leffler. Growing up, I knew the Halo franchise was popular, but I only ever had the first game. I never owned an Xbox, so that limited my ability to play the series. I know 2 was ported to the PC back in the day, but I never got it for whatever reason. All right. From Seth Cameron, I didn't get to play it and 2 until high school, and I'm sure sometime after I had played 3. Will Randolph. I was like 7 and 8 when I first played it, and even I could tell it was a game changer. I didn't really know what was going on, but when I got off the Pillar of Autumn and onto the Halo, it blew my damn mind.
That's very true. That is a really cool spot, especially like back in the day. It's one of those time and place things. I totally understand what he's saying. I was the same way, and I was in high school. So,
from Eric Carabestio, I know I pronounced that wrong. My favorite memories would be staying up until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning on school night, just playing the campaign. Give me credit, not that long. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Play a bunch of times.
Nick Levac, good shotgun, best shotgun ever.
Good shotgun.
And from Blake Howell, first time my dad and I played it co-op when it came out. The first time we encountered a flood, he freaked out and I laughed my ass off. One of my happiest memories involving the franchise.
Okay.
So, and now I got a few from the Halo Infinite community.
Oh, okay.
So let's see what I want to read here.
Hardest of the hardcore. Let's see who we pissed off this time.
Right. Yeah, I'll be posting in here. From George Washington. Me and my brother thought we broke the game. That's what his name says in here.
That's amazing. Hold on. That's really good. I don't know.
George Bipendum Squashington. This is his name.
Pretty good. Well done, sir. Okay. Go on. Go ahead.
Me and my brother thought we broke the game and that we had to redo the silent cartographer until you beat the elite through the door. Because there's a part we didn't mention where you get to the door, they lock the door, and you have to go somewhere else and then come back for some dumb reason.
Oh, I don't remember that, but I'm sure I probably accidentally did that.
Yeah, you automatically go to a plot and the door locks. Maybe you can get in there first. I don't know. And then Cortana will tell you, hey, now you got to go somewhere else to find a switch. And you travel a different area, hit a switch, and then come back and then go kill him.
I think you're right. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
I don't think you can get to him before he locks the door. Maybe you can, but I don't know.
I don't know either. I've never tried it. So yeah.
I forgot about it until it happened. I'm like, oh, yeah.
I think that's silent cartographer because like right after it happened, I remember running outside and like jumping off the ledge up there, and that was when I found out the game had fall damage.
It feels like it shouldn't have fall damage, doesn't it? It just feels
really
like
doesn't.
you should be able to do that. Yeah, I'm the same boat.
And this one from Isaac Horsley. My favorite thing to do was to play co-op and pile up dozens of grenades under a warthog. The launchers were epic.
That was the only way I played multiplayer. As a friend of mine and we would just load up plasma grenades on warthogs. That's all we did.
Hey man, that sounds fun.
We were so bummed in too when they made them destructible.
We'll read a couple more, and I got one long one we're going to end with, but I won't say the name because he didn't actually post it. Someone else did. From Duncan Shia, the flood scared the crap out of 6-year-old me, but I loved it. I completely understand. They are terrifying.
They're pretty scary. I could tell those levels, like especially like for back in those days, they were really dark and dreary, and yeah, they had a good horror element to them. So
they're terrifying. So
space zombies.
Yeah,
space zombies, pretty good.
From Maxwell Travis Portlow, I remember playing the demo in EB Games for hours and hours. First game I ever personally owned. What's EB Games? Sorry, I don't remember that.
Oh, you don't? You don't?
I do. I'm kidding.
Okay, I was going to say, I was like,
oh,
well, let me tell you about EB Games.
Hey, one day it'll be GameStop. What was that? That's coming too.
I remember when they were still Electronics Boutique.
I remember when they were still Babbage's.
Yeah. Did Babbage's become EB Games?
I don't know. But
so.
The one where I live left, and that became, I want to say it became GameStop.
Well, GameStop bought everybody when they
Yes.
came in the picture.
So I have a feeling, yeah. I don't know. I wish Julian Titus were here because he would know. I guarantee that man would know. I'm kind of curious. But I remember we had two game stores that were almost right next to each other. We had an EB Games and GameStop, and their employees would swap back and forth. I don't know why they had two game stores in my mall.
That happened a lot. That happened in my mall too. And then when GameStop bought EB Games, you just had two GameStops in the mall. One on the first floor, one on the second floor. And it wasn't a giant mall. I lived in Milwaukee. It was just a mall. But I'm like, you don't need this.
You had floors in your mall? We had one floor. That was it. They were like literally a 1-minute walk away from each other. It was weird. Sense. Yeah, you could stand outside and look at the other one. It was weird. I don't understand why they did it.
My current mall has 4 floors in the city I live in, but
that's pretty metal.
I live in Twin Cities, and I'm right by the Mall of America, so.
Oh, fancy. Okay.
Good mall. Actually worked there too for a small amount of time.
Neat.
It was not.
I'm aware they have a carousel. Probably. Do they have a carousel? I don't know. I don't actually know.
They have roller coasters inside.
Oh, that's right. That's what I remember.
They might have a Ferris wheel.
They taped the first WCW Nitro there.
But when I worked there, I worked in external maintenance. My job was to drive a vacuum truck around outside at night and suck up garbage.
That sounds fun. I'd do that.
I mean, that's how I got into podcasts. That's what started what eventually became this.
Oh, yeah. That sounds like a good job for a podcast.
It was.
Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah.
You want to talk about depressing jobs, though. Work third shift.
Oh, I enjoy night shift. I'm disgusting and sick in the head, and I know that about myself, so it's fine.
Okay, enough of that. Last comment I'm going to read. This is from Ernesto Vasquez, but it is not his comment. It's somebody else's, but since they didn't share it, I am not mentioning their actual name. It's a long one, but it's good, so it needs to be shared. I want to share something with you all. It's a sensitive subject, but important to me. Halo CE got me out of a very dark place. Bullied, picked on, beat on, etc. in high school. Being told you're worthless, ugly, poor, and you should kill yourself every day at school and beyond. You start to believe it. I picked a day to end my suffering. I told nobody I wasn't looking for attention, and nor was I looking for pity. I got invited over to someone's house to play Halo. I didn't know what Halo was, and I was numb at this point. I knew the real reason they invited me was to do bad things to me, and they did. After knocking on the door, they opened it and egged the weasel, because I was a skinny and my last name is Wetzel. As they called it, even after that, I still walked into their house. After a few minutes, they said, let Weasel play. Nobody wanted me on their team, so it was 1 versus 2 while others watched. I never played the game, but I smoked them. The more I killed the other two, the more people in the background were almost cheering me after that game. I was chosen first for the next game. It was the first time that ever happened to me. Even though I hated these people, I felt like I wasn't worthless. I felt proud. Something changed in thought patterns, and I no longer wanted to end it all. I held on to that story for almost 18 years, and I'm so glad I didn't end it. There was so much for me out there, and my life is pretty damn good now. If you're struggling, to feel free to reach out to me privately. It's not worth it. I'm extremely sorry for the long post. Okay.
Don't be sorry for that. That was amazing. That's a great story. Yeah.
I just can't read it because the person that did not actually share it. So
right, that's a great
it was
story.
from the Halo group.
That's a really great story. And I'm sorry that happened to you. People are terrible. They're still terrible. Yes, yeah. I mean, especially at that time, and even now, like people are just bad. But
it doesn't change.
Yeah, that's exactly. Especially, yeah, and that's a different podcast. But let me tell you, that video games they're a great escape, and I'm glad you found something in this game. That's really cool. I know stuff like this actually helped me make a lot of friends too, because like I said, multiplayer, I met a ton of people just by we're gonna go to this person's house and play Halo today, and I would be like, okay, I don't know anybody here. And I'd meet them, and I'm very socially awkward. It doesn't seem like I am because I talk a lot on podcasts, but this is a different thing.
No one sees you.
Exactly. It's a different thing. But yeah, no, I totally get it. That's awesome. That's just a great story. I'm really happy for you. And if anybody else is feeling like that out there right now and is listening to this, hey man, you're not alone. And just keep going, doing okay, and like, play a video game or something to take your mind off it, and hopefully that'll help. It does get better. It does.
I've been in that same boat a long time ago, and I know how it feels.
Exactly. It's rough. Like I think I've been there myself too, but yeah, it does get rough, man. It does get better. But that's just a great story.
It was a good one to end on. And
absolutely.
I think now we should go to Shell for Box.
Absolutely.
And Mike, why don't you go first?
So I probably haven't played this game other than, like I said, flipping warthogs since the original Xbox, like in the early 2000s. So I wasn't really expecting anything, but that first level, man, the gunplay feels so good, just walking around mowing guys down. And any time that I wasn't completely lost was a blast, but those times happened way too often. It's just like, okay, where do I go? I killed everyone in this room. I don't know where to go now. But, I mean, that is the game's fault, but a lot of it's my fault too. Yeah. And then kind of got sick of the flood after 4 levels of them. Like keys, I died so much in that level, it's not even funny. Between the bad checkpoints, the flood of enemies, no pun intended, and the tight corridors, it was a pain in the ass. But that being said, it still has me interested to check out too, because especially what you guys are saying that it got better from here. So I think it's still going to go in the box, though. Like, I don't really have any desire to go back through this one again. But it did make me fall in love with Jen Taylor. I immediately wanted to play Left 4 Dead after that. Nice. So, yeah, it's going to go in the box, though. And hopefully we'll check out 2 someday, and I'll have nicer things to say.
2 is better. Halo Reach is, like I said before, my favorite, and I've never played Halo 3 ODST.
I've played Halo 1 through 3 while Bungie was still in charge of it, and then when they moved on, I was kind of like, yeah, all right, I'm done. That's Halo.
At some point, I need to play, because we'll probably do this whole series on this podcast at some point, just because. Right. And I have them on my PC, and I paid $40 for them, so I might as well make use of them.
Right, exactly.
But so we'll see. But Justin, how about you? Shell for Box.
So as I said before, this game means a lot to me. I played a lot of it as I was growing up. In high school, made a lot of friends from it. Had a lot of dumb drunken parties in high school because I was a stupid kid who wasn't. And I love the multiplayer a lot. It's one of those games that, like, I was like, oh man, I wonder if I'm going to be any good at this. And then I remember, I think it's the second level, and they drop you down, and you're like, all right, you're going to snipe these guys out. You have a sniper rifle. I was like, okay. And I remember somehow I lined up 3 perfect shots, and I was like, still got it. And I was like, yep, everything about this feels the same. This is how I remember it. It feels great. I absolutely enjoy it. I have a lot of the same criticisms as you do, other Mike. I absolutely. I have a lot of the level design doesn't age quite well, but this game, as I've said many times, and I will say it one more time for the finale here, it really wasn't a game about the campaign. The campaign was fine, but it was, hey, check out this multiplayer though. And for that reason, I would definitely put this on my shelf, because if there's a ton of people that would be like, oh hey, Halo, that's a cool game, we should play that, and I'd be like, absolutely, let's play Halo. I'd be totally down to play this with anybody. And a lot of our complaints with the campaign also come from playing it solo, because it was very much built to be a co-op experience. Like couch,
It's way
it was
better. Co-op.
Yeah, absolutely. There was just so many things that were built around those co-op mechanics that, like, when you play it single player, it gets a little frustrating when you don't have another person, because there was times where I was like, oh yeah, this is where the other player is supposed to watch my back here while I do this other thing. And when you don't have that, you're kind of multitasking a little too much. But and getting lost, I think the remaster fixes a lot of the getting lost. At least for me, it did, because I was just like, oh, follow the ground arrows, got it, understood.
Mm-hmm.
They knew this was a little rough. But I would absolutely put this on my shelf. I think for historical reasons, like I said, this game it set the fucking bar for console shooters. There will never be another Halo. There was many games that tried. It kicked off so many clones of this type of game. So many games tried to be the original Halo and failed miserably. I mean, PlayStation tried several times to get their own Halo. They Killzone was the Halo killer. That sure didn't work. They had Resistance Fall of Man. That was kind of their next try at making a Halo. And I'm not saying Resistance is a bad game. It's not. There's a whole thing about NWP on that. Go listen to that. But Halo's a great game. It still holds up. It's parts of it are not perfect by any stretch, but it's a progenitor that is. It's such a good progenitor game. Like, so much came out of this. The foundation for so much of what built console first-person shooters as you know them today came from this. For historical value, for even replay purposes, I would, like I said, 100%, I would play this co-op with anybody, play multiplayer again. I would start a LAN party right fucking now if I knew how to do it. It would be great.
It's not that easy.
Exactly, it's not. But yes, absolutely, this game 100% goes on the shelf. It's great.
Okay, and I'll go last. This is also going to go in the box because I love certain Halo games, but this is not one of them. I had fun playing it, but I don't need to ever play it again. If it wasn't for this show, I wouldn't have picked it back up. I wouldn't have dived back into it. It's just not really my game. It's still a good game. If you haven't played it, you should play it, but then you should definitely go play Reach, because Reach is a better game. And it does everything so much better in the sequels as time went on. And
I'd have to go back and play Reach.
We played Reach not too long ago. It's really I really like Reach. I think Reach is amazing.
Yeah, I know in 3 a lot of the like modern feel of Halo is there. Like that's where 3 is kind of where it comes together. And I remember liking bits of it and not liking bits of it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Breach was made by 343.
Reach is the last Bungie one.
Is it? Okay. Oh,
yeah, 343 takes over at 4 and on.
Okay, got it. Okay, I wasn't sure.
That's why I say that one is just like they perfected it.
That's okay. You're probably right.
If you're playing on the Master Chief Collection, you already have Reach. Especially if you're playing on PC, go play it. Like, it is worth it.
Okay, duly noted. I will have to check that out. Yeah,
check out the episode too, in episode 54. But it's Halo Reach is a really good game. Like the vehicles fit better, the guns feel better. There's more weapons. The enemies don't feel like you aren't running around like big open areas for no reason at all, but just to fill time. Like everything feels very compact and accurate in Reach, and the story is great. Like Reach is a way better game.
Yeah, I absolutely believe it, but you have to remember that
5 Halos later. So.
I was just gonna say that it also came out. They had how many games before that to get to fully perfect this formula? And this formula,
Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST, then Halo Reach.
And this formula in this original one still pretty good. Still holds up. I still had a great time. It still feels like when I played it on back all those years ago in 2001. So yeah,
I mean it has good moments. It's just not a game that I need to replay again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was a time and a place thing. For me, it means a lot because of, the memories I have of it. So.
Yeah, I didn't have 2 is the one that I have the memories of that we'll someday cover the show.
Yeah.
I'll have a lot more to say about 2.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I played a lot more 2 than I did 1, but I still have a lot of really fond memories of 1 as well. So they're
I
both.
played 2. I don't remember anything about it.
Oh
It's
man,
okay.
it's that's another one, man. Multiplayer, man. Oh, they got that shit so right. And
Oh,
but
yeah,
they
well-
a lot of small improvements into, but we'll get there when we get there. Or
Yeah, I'm
you'll
sure
get
it'll
there.
be on the show at some point. Not this year. I can tell you that much. But some point, sure. I don't need any more Halo this year. All right, I think I should introduce what we're gonna be talking about next week, real quick. We're gonna dive back into a Silent Hill game. We're gonna be talking about Silent Hill 2 next week.
Whew.
So that's gonna be interesting because I have two. It's me and Mike who are neither of us are horror fans,
Nope.
and the two guests I have are big horror fans, so it will help out because
Oh man, Silent Hill. I'm not a horror fan either. Silent Hill 2 is one of the greatest stories in video games. Oh
It's
man,
a
I'm
good
just gonna. It's fucking good. I'm jealous.
I haven't played it in years, so I'm kind of excited to go back to it. I mean, it should be interesting. I haven't played it since I was in high school, and I graduated in 06, so it would have been back in like 04 or 05 I would have played it. So it's been a long fucking time.
Indeed. Yeah, that's that game. I guarantee you is gonna hold up pretty well. It's gonna be Silent Hill combat never been very good. But
You don't need to fight.
it's exactly it ain't a combat game.
And when you have save states, you can dodge as many times as you want. It didn't work. F3. All right, let's go at it again. Oh, there we go. Now we got it.
There you go.
So,
but that story, fantastic.
All right, so we will do that. And Justin, do you want to say where people can, if they like you, where they can find you at?
I'm sure they all hate me by now, but that's fine. You can find me on the Nerds Without Pants podcast, talking with my friend Julian Titus, who was on the show not too long ago. And we talk about video games. We do like a stage select thing where people can send us in stuff that they think about video games. And we also have a cage match thing where we pit 2 games against each other and then they fight to the death. I think. I don't really know how it works. I just say things like KOTOR never happened on that, and it seems to work fine. I also have another podcast where I just talk to my sister and we go through clickbait internet lists called Clickbait Update, and it's fun. We don't have any plans for it ever, so it's just random bullshit like me making up dog song parodies. That's a thing I do. I won't share any of those on this podcast, so you have to listen to that to know more. But thank you for your time.
I found your podcast, so I will put links in the show notes so people can find you. And you're on Libsyn, it looks like, right?
Yes, at least that.
Using Google, nice.
Google is pretty good. It's pretty good.
That's one thing I like to look up. I'm like, I'm going to see if I can find people. So, all right, that's about. Oh yeah, and I should do my plugs. So if you like this episode, like I said before, we actually have covered Halo Legends at one point earlier in the show. I don't know it doesn't have a number, so look that up. And we covered Halo Reach in episode 54. So if you need more Halo, we got 2 more Halo episodes for you because it will probably be a while before Halo 2 comes on the show because I don't foresee me doing any more Halo anytime soon. Look forward to that. Also, we do comic episodes, so we got tons of those to check out for you. We do the Marvel Cinematic Universe episodes, and we currently we're going to be publishing Captain America: The First Avenger later probably next week. So definitely check that out. So listen to all our old episodes. We got tons of games that we covered. If you look through our catalog, I'm sure you're going to find something that you want to listen to because there's a lot of shit on that catalog, and some of it's really good. There's a lot of stuff though.
Right on.
So definitely check those out. Want to give an awesome shout out to our intro and outro, courtesy of Bobby, aka Mike Stoney from ZP Bite the Bullet. Songs The Cool Kid Squad. You'll see a link in the show notes to his channel also. You will also see a link in the show notes to Justin's 2 podcast to listen to. And I want to thank Justin for taking time out to join us tonight. He helped
no
us.
problem.
This would have
Anytime.
been a little hard without you because I didn't have as much to say as I wanted to.
I was gonna say this would have probably been a short podcast had I not been here. I'm glad I was here to try to defend the sanctity of the original Halo.
Yeah, I don't think we would have had a whole lot to say.
Yeah,
hey, me and Mike were
sucks. The flood happened. Fuck them.
Me and Mike spent an hour.
Box. Fuck this game. End of podcast. There.
You know, you're not wrong. I mean, me and Mike spent an hour talking about Percy Jackson, which has not been released yet. We could barely talk about Halo. Like, it's just, I don't know.
It happens.
So, yeah, there's a Percy Jackson episode coming out next month, probably, on the first film.
And the DS game that you didn't know existed.
Amazing DS game. And I'm not exaggerating. That game is amazing.
Interesting.
It's a turnstile RPG.
Really?
It's simple, but it's for DS. I played it on my phone on a DS emulator with no issues. It's all touchscreen. It is a perfect game to just shoot around when you're just waiting. Trust
that
me.
actually sounds interesting.
I will send you links off the show if you're interested. So
nice. Yeah, I might look into that. I doubt I'll play it. I know myself. I won't play it. You don't have to send me links, but I would love to see what it looks like. So I will probably look up YouTube on it.
It's surprisingly really damn good. And I thought, like, this is stupid. I beat the game in 2 days and I couldn't stop playing it. So
I was gonna say, if you would have told me a Percy Jackson DS game existed, I'm like, that's probably trash. That is probably hot garbage. But
it's better than the movie.
Nice. I mean, not just about everything's probably better than that movie. I don't know.
So yeah, check that out. All right, I think I've said enough for tonight. We will see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.